Hello, my name's Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Myself and Fael and others at Churches from Middle East Peace, we've been working on these daily updates every single day for 644 days. Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. There have been ongoing atrocities for 644 days. Atrocities against primarily the civilian population of Gaza, but in other parts of the Middle East as well, including devastating effects in Israel. So we give these daily updates as a means of giving witness to what is happening in the Middle East, particularly updates on the Christian community, the sustainability of the church. That's one of Churches Middle East Peace's main priorities, alongside of issues related to humanitarian and economic assistance and human rights. So what's happening in the Middle East on the 644th day of the Israel-Hamas war, and what many experts claim is nothing but a genocide in Gaza. I wanted to start in the occupied West Bank because an American citizen was beaten to death by violent settlers. Now, this was a Palestinian citizen of the U.S., a 23-year-old man. This happened in an attack on Palestinians that was north of Ramallah. A group of Palestinians have been trying to reach a hamlet in Kirbet al-Ad to protest the establishment of a new illegal Israeli outpost that had been built on the village's land, which is located in Area B of the West Bank. Area B is the area that is controlled by technically Palestinian civil and Israeli security control. Israel has control over the entire area, the entire occupied Palestinian territories. Area A is supposed to be under Palestinian civil and security control. Area B is Palestinian civil and Israeli security control. And Area C is entirely under Israeli control. De facto annexation has already existed. So this incident was in Area B. Dozens of settlers blocked Palestinians from trying to reach Kirbet al-Ad and began attacking them. 10 Palestinians from nearby towns were injured in the settler attack. So this American citizen was killed. He was one of two Palestinians who were killed by settlers in this particular West Bank attack. There have been no immediate reports of arrests after the incident. The area was called Sinjil. The Palestinian Authority Health Ministry says the Palestinian American dual national died after being severely beaten. God have mercy. You'll recall that there just was a historic Supreme Court case in the United States that allows American citizens who were killed in Israel by Palestinian militants to sue the Palestinian Authority in U.S. courts. I wonder if we could sue for these types of deaths. I wonder if we could sue for Shireen Abu Akleh's death, sue the Israeli government in U.S. courts. For some reason, I don't think that there are consistent laws being applied. That was sarcasm. There are absolutely not consistent laws being applied. Now, there's some discouraging news about the hostage talks and the ceasefire negotiations. They have stalled. The U.S. has called for other issues to be resolved before the IDF withdrawal. In the past days, I've been saying there's one unresolved issue that's been primarily the IDF leaving and where they would go to, not remaining in all of the different areas like the Netzarim corridor, etc. No significant progress has been made in negotiations since Wednesday, and humanitarian groups have urged Israel to meet the commitment to let new aid distribution sites open. Now, at the same time, Netanyahu, in just the past day, said he's hoping that a hostage deal will be finalized in a few days. So there's not progress on the final on the hostage deal, on the ceasefire negotiations, but Netanyahu is saying, oh, we're hopeful, which makes me think, oh, not that I wasn't thinking this before, but perhaps this means we should judge politicians by what they do, not by what they say. There's so much rhetoric that is just completely wasted speech, filling the air to try to give the perception of engagement in constructive conversations. All over Israel, the conversation is, without a doubt, that Netanyahu is continuing war throughout the Middle East in order to stay in power. He will be indicted. He's under investigation. There's a whole case against him. Moving on to Gaza, Israel's coordinator for the government activities in the territories, called Kogat, has transferred 150,000 liters of fuel. I don't have the number of how much that is in terms of how much fuel is needed in Gaza. That just happened this week through Kerem Shalom, the crossing into Gaza. This was following a directive from the political echelon. Israel, for months, I reported just this last week, 5 months, fuel has been restricted, almost completely restricted. But the shortages have prevented generators from running at hospitals and other essential sites throughout the Strip. In the past day, an IDF soldier was killed in an apparent accidental explosion in South Gaza. And aid groups have identified that there's been a deliberate withholding of baby food as a weapon of war. The groups, these nonprofit groups, claim that Israel's deliberately hampering the entry of baby formula into Gaza as child malnutrition has climbed. Defense Ministry in Israel has denied these allegations that Israel is also putting taxes on aids. They've said 1,400 tons of baby food were let into the strip in recent weeks. Doctor Without Borders disagrees. This is Médecins Sans Frontières, and they assert that the spike in malnutrition is deliberate. All I know is children in Gaza are going hungry. And Jewish people of goodwill totally oppose that. Muslim people of goodwill totally oppose that. And Christians of goodwill oppose children going hungry. God have mercy. None of the civilians in Gaza should be going hungry. It is illegal according to any type of law, let alone common morality. The idea that food would be withheld as a weapon of war. Now, we just got this message from colleagues in the Al Nasser hospital. This was sent to me. It says, we're working now in the hospital. Tanks are only a few meters away. We are closer to death than to life. The soldiers show no mercy, not to a child, not to an elder, nor to a doctor or a nurse. We remain here because we're human, and our mission is humanitarian. If these ravens snatch our lives, don't forget us. Don't turn us into numbers. We love life. We have dreams just like you. We have children and spouses we love deeply. But to be truly human means not abandoning those who need your humanity. Tell the world about us. Tell them that we were more human than those who only claimed to be. Tell them that we chose death over abandoning our noble mission. Do not call us heroes. Just tell them that we understood what it truly means to be human. It was a blessing to get to know you all. Forgive us. We are not numbers. This was a statement put out by the medical staff of the Nasser Medical Complex in Gaza. It was reported in Israel today that Netanyahu was said to have intentionally shelled the April 2024 Gaza truce fire agreement. This was under the Biden administration after Smotrich's threat to the government. The prime minister also derailed Biden's Saudi normalization initiative due to similar threats by Ben-Gvir to bring down the government as a result of a reckless deal. I haven't read that entire article, but there is quite the struggle for power within the Israeli government, which is a mess in and of itself, in terms of Smotrich and Ben-Gvir saying that to capitulate to a ceasefire would be the essentials of giving the keys to Gaza over to Hamas. Now, the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, published a report saying 1 in 4 Americans believe recent attacks of U.S. Jews are, quote, understandable. 38% believe that attacks against Jews in the U.S. will stop if Israel halts its war against Hamas in Gaza. Another 24% believe attacks are false flag operations meant to increase support for Israel. I think it's important to read that data. Anti-Semitism has been on the rise. And Jewish people, even Jewish people who will totally oppose Israel's actions, have experienced threats, and we have to stand up against that. The oppression of Jewish people, the discrimination towards Jews, even in response to injustices perpetrated by the state of Israel, are abhorrent. And so we have to be working against anti-Semitism while we're calling for justice. Lebanese president, he said that that Beirut currently seeks peace, but not normalization with Israel. Amid efforts to disarm Hezbollah, the president, Aoun, calls the decision to uphold state monopoly on arms final, saying that Israeli troops' presence, it obstructs the Lebanese army from being fully deployed. The idea is that the Lebanese army would be the only army that has arms in Lebanon, but the presence of Israeli soldiers in South Lebanon perpetrates then the reason Hezbollah has said that they will not disarm. Related to Lebanon, there's always a trickling of attacks. We hear about these several times a week. One person was killed here, a few people killed there, and today it was announced in Israel that an Israeli strike on South Lebanon killed one person. 5 other Lebanese officials were wounded. They said a drone targeted a vehicle in the Nabatea district. We hear a lot about Nabatea. The IDF says that the target was, quote, a significant figure in advancing terror attacks within Israeli territory, end quote. Regarding Yemen, those shipping attack incidents last week actually resulted in the sinking of two tankers, two ships the Houthis said were linked to Israel. So Red Sea ships have started to put out a broadcasting message saying that the whole crew is Muslim in a bid to avert Houthi attacks by the Iranian-backed rebels. They've stepped up attacks against international shipping in recent days after a months-long haul. In terms of the international community, you'll recall that June 17th to 19th, there was supposed to be an international conference for nations that support the two-state solution at the United Nations. It was canceled because of the Israeli attack on Iran and the subsequent exchange of missiles between the two countries. That is co-convened by the French and Saudi Arabia. So the UN confab of the two-state solution has been rescheduled. The new dates for that are July 28th to 29th. Jerusalem has slammed the proposed recognition of a Palestinian state, saying that it would reward October 7th. That's one of the main arguments for not recognizing the Palestinian state right now, is that it could be perceived as an award, as a consequence of the October 7th attacks, thus seemingly to justify them if a state were to be acknowledged now. In the U.S., the Times of Israel said the anti-Israel activist Mahmoud Khalil. I'll say the pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. He has sued the Trump administration for $20 million over imprisonment. So a spokesperson from a Columbia group that praised the October 7th Hamas massacre in Israel files claims alleging he was falsely imprisoned. Now, I think that actually is not my understanding. Again, I took that from a far-right news source in Israel. The point is, Mahmoud Khalil is suing the Trump administration for $20 million. I want to close with an update on Christians in the Middle East. One of the things we should be paying attention to is ISIS. Many analysts have said that ISIS will rise and will increase significantly. Attacks will increase significantly. It should be expected because of the departure of the U.S. military from bases in Syria in past months. Trump has closed some or all of them. It's in progress, I know. So Christianity Today is publishing a series. I don't know if the series is just about the Yazidis, but he put out an article that's in the middle of a series that Jason Kasper's writing called ISIS Victims Welcome Christian Help, Not Christian Conversion. Speaking of the Yazidis, a religious minority group in Iraq, they faced 11 years of displacement and still do after ISIS's attacks. They were displaced from their historic home of Sinjar in northern Iraq in 2014, killing and enslaving thousands. I spent some time with the Yazidis in 2018 in northern Iraq. I've not been back since. I've tried to get back. There have been attacks near Erbil and things in the past 2 years when I've tried to go. And so we have a relationship with the Christian community in northern Iraq, Kurdistan, and have met the Yazidis there. The ISIS group claimed that Yazidis, whose religion has roots in ancient Mesopotamia, worshipped Satan. After U.S. coalition forces drove back ISIS, most Yazidis remained in UN camps for the internally displaced. That's where I met a number of leaders. The U.S. was a key aid provider. This was under the first Trump administration, facilitating access to essential services for more than 30,000 people in Sinjar. The cuts have prevented vulnerable groups like the Yazidis from accessing food and health care that they need to survive, wrote Amy Hawthorne, a former Obama-era State Department official. Today, Yazidis continue to live in fear of ongoing oppression and continued displacement in Iraq. May God be with them. May God be with the Yazidis, all minority groups in the Middle East and the world. May the Lord comfort and bring justice to all who are oppressed, be they in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Gaza, Israel, the occupied Palestinian territories, throughout the Middle East and the world. May God go before us in the name of Christ. Amen.